Grace and peace to you, beloved. Amy Wilson Feltz here. I am the pastor of St. Paul's United Methodist Church in El Paso, Texas. Thank you so much for joining me for coffee on this beautiful February morning. The weather has been so nice lately here in El Paso. We are mindful that it's not the case in so many other areas of the world. We have loved ones in the Midwest, and we know that the snow is real and the temperatures are cold. At the same time, we're enjoying some really mild weather here in El Paso, and so we've had the opportunity to take some walks with the kids lately. And the older kids, who are 5 and 6, they really enjoy riding their bikes. Right now they're both riding with training wheels, and I've noticed that Natalie is ready. She's ready to take those training wheels off and learn to balance on her own. Augie is not quite there yet. He's really working on learning to become confident in his pedaling and in his steering. And it's been really great to watch them together. And right now, Natalie has been so gracious. She continues to ride at a pace that we can sustain as a family, because we also have the baby in the stroller. But she also needs time to practice on her own skill. And so Jason and I have become committed to carving out that time for her so that we can begin helping her grow and take that next step in her development in her bike riding. And this experience has really encouraged me about what it means to be a disciple of Jesus. And when I use that word disciple, I'm talking about following Jesus, listening to the instruction of Jesus, and reading about the ways that Jesus lived, and growing in our own faith by modeling our thought patterns and our behaviors after the way Jesus taught and lived. And the goal, the mission of the United Methodist Church is to make disciples for the transformation of the world. And we often talk about that in terms of bringing people to Christ, and that's important. But walking with people as a disciple, growing ourselves, and also investing in other people's growth, that's a really important part of discipleship. And I see that in Natalie. She's willing to invest in Augie and ride at his pace so that he can learn and grow. But she also needs people to invest in her so that she can move and grow and interact in the world at her own pace as well. And I've really been thinking about that process in terms of community. And so I have a passage from Galatians that I would like to share with you this morning. Galatians is a letter that we can find in our New Testament. I'll be reading chapter 6, beginning in verse 1 of Galatians. My friends, if anyone is detected in a transgression, you who have received the Spirit should restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness. Take care that you yourselves are not tempted. Bear one another's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. For if those who are nothing think they are something, they deceive themselves. All must test their own work. That work, rather than their neighbor's work, could become a cause for pride. For all must carry their own loads. Those who are taught the word must share in all good things with their teacher. And one of the things that I really enjoy about this passage is that it talks about bearing one another's burdens, but it also talks about bearing our own personal responsibility and taking pride in working and being and living in the world in the ways that God calls us to live, while we're also helping others grow and live in the ways that God calls them to live. This is the work of discipleship. And the season of Lent is a wonderful time for us to really examine the ways that God is calling us to grow. The season of Lent will begin 1 week from today on Ash Wednesday. And we will move toward Easter in those 40 days, not including Sundays, because Sundays are days of celebration. We will move toward Easter in those 40 days with intention, inviting God to convict us of the ways that we need to change in those areas where we need to grow, and really paying attention to ways that we can do that as we continue to follow Jesus. Now, for some people, that will be abstaining from an action, or maybe fasting from a food. Maybe it means adding an act of service into your routine, or interacting in the community in some way, whether from your home or in other opportunities. There are many ways that we can go about that, and we will talk next week a little bit more about ways to observe the season of Lent as a community of faith at St. Paul's United Methodist Church. But in this next week, I really encourage you to think about the ways that God is calling you to engage in this season of Lent, as we reflect on our own humanity, as we look at those areas where we need to pay attention to our own growth and development, and also ways where we can invest in the growth and development of other people. We have many things that we could consider right now in this season of life in our nation and in our world, and I really believe that the season of Lent can be an opportunity for us to invest in our own growth and also in the growth of others. So I hope that that is encouraging to you as we prepare to take this journey with Jesus once more to the cross, as we prepare to celebrate the resurrection on Easter morning, and as we think about what following Jesus means in the meantime. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and I look forward to being with you again next week for Coffee with Pastor Amy. Grace and peace.